I see cases like this in my research. Some are tied to other cases that are more well-known. And that's literally the only reason they pop up time and time again, because they're mentioned in connection to another case, but only as a footnote. Hi, Cassie.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, creepy people. Hello! We did it together.
If you're new to our creepy corner of the world, this is PNW Haunts and Homicides, where we chat about true crime, paranormal, and anything spooky, creepy, weird in the Pacific Northwest.
And we do a tarot reading at the end for deeper insight into the episode. So make sure you stick around if you're into that.
Do we have any announcements?
We do actually have a promo code.
A promo code for what?
It is for the True Crime and Paranormal Podcast Festival in Austin, Texas.
Oh my gosh. Austin. The other
Keep
it weird.
Yeah. And our promo code is PNW. P is in Paul.
N
is in Nancy.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I just couldn't spit it out.
W as in Walter White.
I was going to say Walter too. Oh my God.
I don't think any of those are the correct. You know what? Whatever. It's fine.
How about PNW as in Pacific Northwest?
Also,
is that helpful? Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just saying that's probably better, because here's the thing. The military did not pay for my college. So I don't know why I'm trying to adopt their system. That's foolish. Today, we're going to talk about more than one horrifying tragedy, including the brutal murders of Ethan Chapin, 20, Xana Kernodle, also 20, Maddie Mogen, 21, and Kaylee Goncalves. I've heard it pronounced a couple of different ways. I'm going with the one that I hear the most often. She was also 21.
Oh my goodness. That is 4 too many tragedies.
Actually, by the time we get done, going to be 5 too many tragedies.
No.
And you'll see, because there's not a 5th involved in the Idaho Four. Just FYI.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. This is basically the most talked about story on the news of late, but it's also been heavily discussed in just about every form of true crime medium or content possible.
I've managed to miss it.
Yeah. Shockingly, so did I.
Oh,
okay. It was intentional.
Oh, okay.
And now we're going to do the same. But first, I'm going to tell you about another story. And when I say do the same, I mean we're going to talk about it. So
yeah,
we're not still missing it. That's not the thing that we're going to do the same.
No.
Okay. Just so we're all clear.
Yeah. Glad you clarified that.
Yep. So this story is one that I feel has been treated like a footnote. I'm not sure if I will follow this format again, but I see cases like this in my research. Some are tied to other cases that are more well-known. And that's literally the only reason they pop up time and time again, because they're mentioned in connection to another case. But only as a footnote. Still, some haven't been, and heavy, sarcastic air quotes here, they haven't been gifted a link to an infamous case that lets people know their stories of suffering or keep the search for them alive.
It's hard to know what to say about that, because we all know what happens and it sucks. But
yeah,
I've said it before. That's why I admire people like you who go find those stories and bring them out.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because in both of these instances, these are both listener suggestions.
Oh.
I was asked if we were going to cover the Idaho Four. And as I was typing back my response, I was still kind of saying, no. And then I heard about this case and I started gathering notes and collecting and collecting, all the things that I wanted to have for my research for both of these. And you put one in one hand and one in the other, and they were very unequal in a way that didn't really make sense to me. And I know that not every case is going to become the kind of horrifying spectacle that the Idaho Four case has become. I mean, Moscow is just very scarred from this whole incident, but man, it's not okay. It's not fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, good job, listener suggestions.
Yeah. Michael W. Koch was 24 years old at the time of entering his guilty plea in federal court for the second-degree murder charge he faced in the killing of 18-year-old Tanya Levon Tom. The crime took place in the wee hours just 5 days before Christmas, back in 2003. But it wouldn't be until 2005 that the plea was entered in the U.S. District Court in Tacoma. In fact, in May of 2005, he was not scheduled to be sentenced by Judge Franklin Burgess until mid-August of that same year. The maximum sentence carried a potential penalty of not only life in prison, but a fine of up to $250,000.
Oh, wow. You can get imprisoned and fined like that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's actually more common than people realize, I think.
I never really thought about it because, where are they going to make the money to pay the fine if they're in prison?
Right. Yep. Really great question. So, how did we get here? Well, murder, obviously.
Ugh.
But this would be a really short episode if we only stuck to the legal bullet points. Our story takes place in Forks.
Forks, Washington?
Yes.
And so you're going to ruin Twilight now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sorry.
I love Twilight. Everyone knows.
I know. On the night in question, a group was gathered for a poker party. Sounds like a good time if you're into that sort of thing. But on this particular night, accusations of cheating would morph into something truly ugly.
How annoying is that when you're at just a friendly game and someone is either cheating or someone else thinks that you're cheating?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'm just annoyed that someone tried to drag me to a poker party.
Yeah, I'm not into poker.
Not feeling it.
No. Snacks, though. The snacks are good.
Yeah. It was Michael Koch that was said to become agitated when the victim, Tanya Levon Tom, allegedly kept repeating profanity.
Okay.
To which I say, what the fuck is your fucking problem, you fucking piece of shit?
Who the fuck cares?
Anyway, per an official statement provided in the case, Michael manually strangled Tanya.
Jeez.
Before placing a chair on her neck.
What?
On which he then sat.
I don't like that. No.
Which is one of the ugliest things I've ever had to say aloud.
I'm sorry you had to say that.
It's just such a vile way to abuse someone after you've already committed ultimately the most evil crime. It's such a callous and then also yet casual way of showing just a total lack of affect.
Mm.
Like, I think about this. Who's creative like this in such a fucked up way? How is anyone actually like this?
I don't know. It's gross.
I had no words. I had to read it almost innumerable times to like wrap my head around that this is like something that happened.
Yeah. I just hate it too. Cause like when you're talking about a woman, you know, he was mad that she was cursing. Like, was it just because she was a woman cursing or?
Maybe because he thought she was a woman cursing who was also cheating.
I don't like people who try to shut women up, and that's like the ultimate.
I
hate it.
Yeah. He manually strangled her and then put a chair on top of her neck. So that's one clear-cut way of saying, I don't want you to speak. I hate this case, but I love that you zeroed in on immediately the point that was the most upsetting for me. And it's going to be a common thread, at least based on theory.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll get there. But of course, after all of this, he's still got this pesky body to dispose of. You know, so annoying how when you murder people, they're just hanging around dead and you got to deal with that.
Yeah.
So Michael put Tanya's body in a box. When he arrived at a secluded location in the woods, he covered the box with brush before fleeing the scene. I have also alternately heard that her body was abandoned in water. I've only seen that in one source, and I don't know where that comes from. Just full disclosure.
Okay.
I feel like it's really upsetting to know that there's kind of such contradictory information out there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. It wasn't until after his plea agreement that Michael Koch led authorities to where Tanya's body was located. This confession would lead to his eventual indictment. Koch claimed he killed her because he didn't want her to have to live with the pain of having been raped by another man in the house that night.
Oh, okay. For one, doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Two, did that actually happen?
There's no evidence of that I'm aware of. But most importantly, my next sentence, which literally makes no sense, but also no thanks on the whole honor killing bullshit.
Yeah. Like I'll decide for myself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If I want to live or not.
But it all goes back to this very puritanical idea or series of ideas that indicate that not only should women be seen and not heard, and really very selectively seen, but you're a ruined woman if this has happened to you. You should want to die.
That's fucked.
And I want to light his face on fire.
So like the percentage of women who have been raped or sexually assaulted, we know is probably much higher. So
Mm-hmm.
you think that all of those women would prefer to just not be here?
Yeah.
There's so many people living with it every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I just realized the other parallel that both of these cases have. I'm going to tell you. The case was handled by the federal government as it had taken place on a Native American reservation.
Okay.
And Michael Koch actually qualified for enrollment in the Cowlitz tribe.
Oh.
The FBI has jurisdiction over most serious crimes involving tribal citizens on reservation grounds.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. As part of my research, I learned that there were 48 such cases that the FBI is currently seeking information from the public in an effort to solve them as of March 2023.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But I think if we go back to our episodes covering the Highway of Tears, we learned a lot of stunning and horrific statistics about violence against tribal populations, particularly women. So we can probably infer that this is a small fraction of the overall number of missing and murdered Indigenous peoples in this country.
Yeah.
So just sit with that for a minute.
Maybe I was misunderstanding what you were saying. I thought you were saying there were 40, however many new since March.
No.
Just like total.
It's 48 cases that are of a similar nature that the FBI has as part of their caseload where they are actively seeking information from the public.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, in most of these cases, and this is completely anecdotal, but also just fucking true, unless the FBI is going to get involved, there's going to be next to zero movement on cases like this because there's the jurisdiction bickering and so many other things at play. And oh God, I could literally scream and throw up at the same time, which really would be wildly unattractive.
Yeah.
Particularly in audio format. But
yeah. We'll video it too for you guys.
Yeah. But I don't like to just throw statements like that around without somehow immediately following it up with recent and verified information. So here goes. The Yakima Herald Republic lists 36 names from 1957 to current day on their roster of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And they feel that even that list is incomplete. So that is Yakima.
I would say so. 36 from the 50s?
36 from 1957 to current day.
That's like, no.
There's nothing.
No way.
It's not a complete list. And if they have 36 in Yakima and the FBI has 48 that they are working on, which you have to assume doesn't mean just for Yakima.
The maths don't compute.
The maths aren't mathin'. Though, as we know, as we turn back to the story at hand, the wheels of justice, as it were, turn slowly. For 16 months, the perpetrator, Michael Koch, sat in a SeaTac federal detention center awaiting his indictment. It should be noted that this was due to multiple extensions being granted and or agreed upon by his attorneys. At the time of Koch's sentencing, Judge Franklin said, "This is reprehensible. This court has seen a lot of things. I was trying to remember when I have come across something so senseless." One of the lengthier pieces of legitimate reporting that I was able to find about this case was an article dated December 24th, 2003, from the Peninsula Daily News. An 18-year-old Yakima woman reported missing from the Hoh Indian Reservation was found dead Tuesday evening, according to federal officials. Tanya Lavon Tom, the girlfriend of a Hoh tribal member, was reported missing over the weekend. The boyfriend, Jarvis Williams, 19, confirmed Tuesday that Tom was missing. Williams said he and Tom had been living at his mother's home on the reservation. Michael Koch, age and address unknown, is being held at the Federal Detention Center in SeaTac for investigation of the homicide. Koch is not a Hoh tribal member and reportedly belongs to the Cowlitz tribe, according to Hoh officials.
That's it?
Mhm.
That's like the longest one that you found? Is what you said?
It's one of the longer pieces that actually had fact-based information.
Wow.
That's actually what I would call a very meager paragraph.
There's not a lot there.
Mm-hmm. Since 2017, activities aimed at establishing May 5th as a National Day of Awareness on this issue have worked to bring it to the forefront of our nation's consciousness. And I think that you can judge from my tone and the length of this article that it really doesn't feel like there's been enough movement on that front.
No.
But if you weren't sure, there it is for you in a nutshell. Because violence against women, and particularly Indigenous or Native women, is still all too horrifically frequent and commonplace, which sadly, the violence against women, that might be a factor in both of the cases I wanted to discuss today. All right, so some of you are probably super psyched to get into this because you can't get enough of the Moscow murders or the University of Idaho murders. But here's how much I kept this case at an arm's length distance. Until I began my research, I didn't even know that one of the victims, Maddie, or Madison Mogen, 21 years old, was an only child born in, of all places, Eugene, Oregon.
Oh.
That's before her family ended up moving to Idaho. Now, I'm going to just dive right in here. And of course, we're going to get some background.
Okay.
Her parents would eventually divorce. As Maddie grew up, those that loved her remarked that she really liked to make people laugh. Her sense of humor is said to come through in many of her now infamous TikTok videos.
Aww.
I'm unsure of the status of her social media account. I didn't go hunting for it. I'm willing to take everyone's word for it. And all of the pictures that I have seen of each of these kids through osmosis and through my research, they look like sweet kids. Kendall Ray, who, barring any unknown scandal to date, deserves quite a bit of respect for how she shares true crime stories, told listeners about Maddie's propensity to get hangry. And also threw some shade in the general direction of tarot readers in some of her coverage.
Not everyone loves them.
Of course, the former, the, propensity to hanger, was super relatable.
Right. Yes.
But the latter may have stung just a tad bit. Though we certainly aren't calling up local law enforcement, taking up their time trying to do readings regarding cold cases over the phone.
No, yeah, not all of us do that. Actually,
Yeah.
Most of us don't.
Yeah, almost no one.
Not the same.
No one wants a phony psychic or other mystic harming an investigation, or giving a family false hope based on unfounded proclamations. Hopefully, people understand, at least in our show, the spirit in which we do our tarot readings.
Yeah, we try to say it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we've done everything we can to make that clear. So anyway, back to Maddie. She was a very smart young woman based on a number of sources I absolutely gobbled up in preparation for today. The paste bin is going to look a little bit like something out of A Beautiful Mind.
Okay.
She met Kaylee at a charter academy that they both attended for middle school. We'll come back to Kaylee in a second. Maddie was a marketing major who made the dean's list every semester. She also joined a sorority. As probably most of you know, each of the victims seemed to be involved in Greek life on the university's campus.
Oh.
Maddie also held down a part-time job at a local restaurant called the Mad Greek and had a boyfriend named Jake.
Oh my goodness. She was Maddie at the Mad Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Her boyfriend, Jake, is not doing great.
Oh, Jake. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So sad.
Kaylee, I mentioned her in brief already. She went to the charter school with Maddie, and they became such fast friends. This actually isn't even in my notes, but they lobbied to go to the same high school together.
Oh.
And their parents agreed because they put together apparently such a convincing little presentation or argument, whatever.
That is so sweet.
Mm-hmm. She was an Idaho native who had considered becoming a teacher. She was majoring in general studies at the university. And like I said, she was Maddie's BFF. She was her BFF for fucking ever. Like, I know forever's already in that, but
BFFFF.
yeah, like lots of Fs.
E.
Yeah.
I think we've done this before.
And apparently she was a little bit of a spitfire. She was sassy.
Yeah, we like that.
We like that. Kaylee also had a knack for planning and a silly sense of humor. She was also involved in a sorority, but joined a different one than that of Maddie.
Oh, that's kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, Kaylee is the me of this group.
Yeah.
She was very she was a planner, but also kind of a jokester. Like,
sassy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also that. She was very hardworking and independent as the middle child in her family, and even had an IT job lined up in Texas for after graduation.
Oh my gosh. She had her life planned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She was the me.
Wow.
That brings us to Xana, which
That's
is
a really cool name. Yeah.
She was extremely athletic, participating in volleyball, track, and soccer throughout high school. So that is where we part ways.
That is 3 more sports than I would ever do.
Mm-hmm. She was an Idaho native through and through. She loved the outdoors. She was really into music and loved going to concerts. By all accounts, she was outgoing, inclusive, and just very down to earth.
Aww.
Honestly, just an overall positive person. She was in the same sorority as Maddie, and they even worked together at the Mad Greek. She seemed to have a ton in common with Maddie, in fact, because she was also a marketing major.
Oh.
Somehow, she also made time for a boyfriend too. His name was Ethan. Ethan was also very athletic, and it sounds like he would have to be in order to keep up with someone like Xana.
Right, yeah.
This kid apparently played literally just about every sport on God's green earth. Just kind of like my dad's side of the family, who everyone maintains I am biologically related to.
I admire those people.
I'm confused by them. It's puzzling. He was also majoring in sports management. So lots of sportsing.
Of course he was.
Mm-hmm. And he was a fraternity member as well. God, fuck me up. He was a triplet.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Who was born in Seattle, but mainly grew up in Idaho. And his was a close-knit family.
No.
His siblings also attended Idaho U.
Wow.
If the whole triplet thing didn't break your heart, maybe this will, you fucking monsters. He reportedly had adorable dimples, which I feel like makes everyone think that you have an absolutely contagious smile.
You have to, right? If you have dimples.
I guess.
Caitlin.
I'm not that impressed. But, the triplet thing gets to me.
Oh, that is so sad. I just hate that.
I really do.
It makes me think of Harry Potter and I don't like it.
It makes you think of Harry Potter?
Fred and George.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, my dad has twin brothers and twin sisters. So, yeah, that one fucked me up. Certainly by now, everyone listening has heard quite a bit about the Moscow murders. And I'm sure there's more than we could hope to cover, in depth at least, in a single episode. But we're going to strive to give you an overview of the case so far, with the benefit of many months of speculation and reporting. And I mean, also the affidavit, because that was a real big help.
I bet.
Yeah. First off, the aforementioned Idaho University students were murdered at the time of my writing and our recording just about 6 months ago on Saturday, November 13th of 2022. So right before the holidays.
Yeah.
Now this group lived in Fratlantis.
Is that a real place?
Yeah, I mean, it's a campus nickname. It's primarily a Greek life neighborhood near the campus.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The first time I read it, I was like, excuse me, what?
Fratlantis.
Mm-hmm. So we're talking prime college rental location. From the pictures, it looks like, honestly, a pretty badass house for a group of college kids. But let's get down to brass tacks. I've really tried to distill aspects of this case down to the core, like the need to know stuff, in order to make it really easy to understand some of the basic facts of the case. Now that we've kind of got some of them worked out, primarily based on the affidavit dating back to January 5th.
Of this year?
Yeah.
Right. Well, but just to clarify, I don't know.
No, I mean, it's fair because it's a lot of names. It's a lot of dates. It's just a lot. At the rented home where this group lived, there's an entrance or exit on both the first and second floors of the home.
There's an entrance and exit on the second floor of the home?
I'm going to send you a picture here.
Do you just maybe jump out into the pool?
No, maybe pause. As indie podcasters, we love to show our support of other awesome shows. So stay tuned for the promo we've got to share with you this week.
Let's show them some love. You can find their info in our show notes.
Tired of the same old podcasts every week? When you're ready for something different, come give us a shot.
Greetings. We're Technically a Conversation, a podcast for curious people by curious people.
Every week, we take turns sharing a new topic, and the other host has no idea what the topic will be.
Our topics are all over the place, from light and funny to dark and sometimes spooky.
We've covered everything from true crime, historical events and people, pop culture icons, the supernatural and occult,
I like that.
and legends and folklore.
My favorite. We're like the Dollar Tree stuff you should know.
Except completely different. No matter what the topic is, we try to make the episodes funny.
Yeah, you may not want to advertise that. Our jokes aren't very good.
What are you talking about? My jokes are fantastic.
Hey, I get paid to laugh either way.
Wait, you get paid?
Check us out at technicallyaconversation.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Shout out to the 11 and a half people that listen to us on Google Podcasts. Wait, you said you were getting paid?
You guys, we're back.
And don't worry, we did get more wine.
Well, of course. All right. We decided to pause so that I could show Cassie the exterior and a really creepy YouTube video of an interior tour of the home that I hadn't watched until just now. And no, that will not be in the paste bin. That is not one of my resources.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't know the story before you showed me the tour of the house.
Yeah. It'll still come to you in your dreams.
Thanks.
Okay, so at the rented home where this group lived, there's an entrance/exit on both the first and second floors of the home. That makes more sense now.
Makes sense once you see it. Yep.
Okay. Their attacker is believed to have entered the home on the second floor, which is kind of ground floor depending on what side of the home you're entering it on.
It's like on a hill.
Yeah. The second floor is really sort of the main floor in the layout, and only one room was occupied on the first floor. It was occupied by the roommate who has already been named in a number of sources. Many of us in the podcasting or true crime space, at least, are omitting the names of the survivors that night.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
They've been through a lot, I'm assuming.
Yeah, let's face it. If you were one of the surviving two people from the horrific events that occurred in that house, you'd really be going through it. And honestly, TikTok and irresponsible reporting has seen to that.
Oh, God.
It's not great.
Oh.
Unfortunately, BF, as I'll refer to her, has been damn near unable to stay out of the media spotlight, and really by no fault of her own. She was subpoenaed by the defense team for the doucheburger that most of us are familiar with as the alleged killer, Bryan Kohberger. You see what I did there?
Ew.
A lot of fuss was made about why her legal counsel would attempt to quash the subpoena. And there's an entirely logical and ridiculously simple explanation that honestly, if you're a court reporter, you'd kind of be a piece of shit not to point out. That's just my opinion. The preliminary hearing in question is still yet to come in June, but would you want to face this man in person?
No.
Cassie doesn't even know what happened, and she is adamant that no, she would not. I have shown her a picture, and she's pretty sure that just based on the creep factor alone.
Mm-hmm. You can see it.
Yeah. We know he's not a fan of eye contact so far, but even just to have to be in the same room with him would be a horrifying thought for most of us. And we weren't even there that night.
Ugh.
In the motion to quash, presented by her lawyer, Kelly Ann Valoria, it stated the request was, and I quote, without support and there is no further information or detail pertaining to the substance of this testimony, its materiality, or the alleged exculpatory information of BF, or why it would be entertained at preliminary hearing, end quote.
I heard a lot of big words and I don't know what any of them mean.
Her defense's motion also stated that there is, and we're quoting again, no authority for an Idaho criminal defendant to summon a Nevada witness to Idaho for a preliminary hearing. The argument presented in non-legalese was essentially that even if she does have an awareness of evidence in some form or fashion that could help clear Kohberger's name, that should be presented at trial rather than at a preliminary hearing that she would be compelled to attend. 'Cause it's rude. Really fucking rude. If she does end up testifying, she's going to need intensive preparation with her legal team and a lot of emotional and psychological support, some of which I can only imagine hasn't been put in place yet.
Oh,
This happened not even 7 months ago.
wow.
The prosecutors, which is a podcast, they've covered so many of the legal aspects of this story so far, and this specifically, and obviously in a much more lawyerly fashion than I really can. BF did apparently agree to speak to his attorneys, but they're going to have to come to her, which means they'll be making a pit stop in Reno, where she currently resides, which seems more than fair.
That does seem fair.
Anyway, moving on from that, the second unnamed roommate, DM, and Xana were on the second floor along with the common area rooms, such as the living room and the kitchen, as well as the patio on the backside of the property. Kaylee and Maddie's rooms were both upstairs, but that night they were sleeping together in one bed.
Oh,
They're basically sisters, so there's literally nothing weird about this.
oh, it just seems sweet.
Well, trust me, it's one of the tiny, minute details of the case that people have nitpicked at and speculated, and it just...
Who the fuck cares? The most least important thing.
Exactly.
Who cares if they were being weird? Quote unquote weird, because it's not weird.
Yeah,
but
it's not. It's like either they were just really good friends, okay? And in that situation, it wouldn't be weird to me. And it's hardly a fact of the case that needs the microscopic dissection that so many of these random details have received.
yeah.
Just grow the fuck up, people.
Like if they were in a relationship too, like who cares?
They both have boyfriends. Like the whole thing is like, they're like, well, but why was she sleeping in her room? Yeah. I'll tell you why. In fact, Kaylee had apparently already moved out of the house, so she probably wouldn't have had any better alternatives within the home.
That makes sense.
Many suspects have been bandied about, whether there was any solid basis to or not, including, but not limited to, Kaylee's long-term boyfriend, a university professor who's now embroiled in a lawsuit with a TikToker based in Texas.
Oh, shit.
An alleged stalker. Then there was a random guy who appeared to be lurking in the vicinity of the group of girls near the food truck that they went to. Also, their Uber driver who drove them home.
Ugh.
There were even several calls that were placed to Kaylee's ex. I just made a split-second decision not to name him as well.
Okay.
'Cause Jesus fucking Christ. Between the hours of roughly 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., some of those calls were made by Maddie, some by Kaylee. And that led to numerous lines of suspicion and various accusations. Some of y'all need a hobby.
Seriously.
Some of them were wilder than others. But college is definitely a time in your life when drunk dialing doesn't necessarily mean anything other than being drunk and also having access to a phone.
Yeah.
There's enough information publicly available at this point that almost anyone involved in or researching the case in any godforsaken capacity seems confident enough in saying that he was not involved in any way. And neither were any of those other people.
Oh my gosh. That is just crazy that people just go and speculate on these people and before it's even finished.
Mm-hmm. Which is why we don't ever fucking do this, but here we are.
Yeah. Ugh.
There's so much information available about this case, which is great. Spoiler alert, none of these people are who law enforcement is focused on currently in connection with the case. Remember I mentioned that little, the affidavit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, none of them were. Nope. This particular group of law enforcement officers seems to actually mostly, sort of, have their shit together.
Oh, okay. That's very reassuring.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I know it's been hard on the families and they've been at times a little bit critical of law enforcement, and I get that. And their feelings are very valid, but this is all turned around very quickly.
It seems like it, yeah.
Surprise, this ended up being a 2-parter.
Who knew?
So I know, I didn't. No one knew. There's no way to know. Just, give it to God and science, or I don't know. Whatever.
And it turns out to be 2 hours and you're like, oops, we have 2 episodes. So
yeah, 2 hours is a bit on the lengthy side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhoozle, there will not be a tarot reading in part 1. So you'll have to come back to part 2 for that.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're Patreon, which you will get parts 1 and 2 on the same day.
What?
So you guys will know the tarot read.
Yeah. So come back. Part 2, we'll have the tarot reading.
We've got some Patreon shout outs today.
We do.
We actually do. We told you they were coming and they're here. Yay. Are you guys excited? Okay. So the first 2 are our longest running members of the Patreon. They joined us over a year ago in August of 2021. Oh my God. Thank you for sticking with us, Stephanie and Jessica.
Yay.
We love you guys.
And this feels really weird because the next Patreon is Caitlin.
Yay, Caitlin. Not this Caitlin.
Not this Caitlin. She's a IN. Okay.
One of those.
Yeah. She has been one of our $5 Tarot Biddy subscribers since November of 2021.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
It seems like so long ago.
I know. It really does. We have Misha. She has been a $2 a month subscriber on Patreon. She's been a huge supporter of the show since December of 2021.
Oh, thank you, Misha.
Woohoo.
Lindsay is another $5 a month tarot biddy that rang in the new year and celebrated the right way by joining us in January of 2022.
Woo!
Ooh, Happy New Year.
And next we have Megan. She joined us at the $15 Killing It in the PNW. And she totally is. For sure.
She is killing it. Megan, did you love how Caitlin said your name?
Megan. She joined us in April of 2022.
Ooh. That still seems like forever ago as well.
That's
a year ago?
Yeah, a year ago. Infinity.
Next, we have Sherry, $5 tarot biddy, who found their way to us in May of 2022. which is like a year ago.
Yeah.
So happy
Exactly.
anniversary to us. We got Sherry.
Sherry. The last one on the list of shout outs today, but certainly not the least.
Never the least.
Never the least. It's not in order of importance, you guys.
No.
Erin.
Erin. Hi, Erin.
Thank you for joining our top tier on the Patreon just before our podiversary last year in May.
Also, another happy podiversary to us. We get Erin.
Woo!
Top tier, too, man.
Woo woo.
Top shelf.
I mean, top tier for now.
Oh.
Yeah, I have some ideas.
Are we going to include more tiers?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
So we love getting messages of support, case suggestions, and stories from our listeners. So please keep sending them our way. We always send anything from specifically our super duper VIP Patreon club to the top of the list, but we will always respond, even just to say a quick thank you, because every single interaction we have with our listeners really fuels us.
It does.
It does.
Are you going to cry?
No, I'm not going to cry.
She
God.
looks misty. No, we really are thankful.
I just covered a really two horrible cases that were both listener suggestions. So this is what you guys do to me.
Yeah.
Thanks, I guess.
Yeah.
And if you made it this far and you're like, what the hell is Patreon? That was real weird that you listened for that long. And also that you don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's a monthly subscription with a range of price points and benefits. Every member gets a personalized welcome card, a shout out in an upcoming episode, which is obviously super duper new because we just did it for the first fucking time.
Yeah, that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get exclusive bonus content and episodes and hopefully so much more.
Yeah, you get ad-free episodes and you also get a video of our tarot reads too.
It's true.
So that's always fun.
If you're into free stuff, we do have a free trial on one of the entry-level tiers of Patreon right now.
Oh.
Yeah, the $5 tier. Cassie looks surprised because she didn't know about this. I
didn't.
just did it.
She does stuff. It's fine. I don't care. As long as I don't have to do anything.
No, I was pretty excited because they typically haven't let us do that. And it's pretty awesome sauce.
How long is the trial?
It's a 7-day trial.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And if you subscribe for $5 at that $5 tier and you run through all of the content that we have on Patreon currently, well, then you should probably fucking sleep because
yeah.
Ow.
Take a break.
Yeah. We're worried.
Get your head checked because that much of us is just like, whew.
Woo.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
If you can't support us monetarily, no worries because the easiest ways to support are absolutely free.
Free 99. Tell everyone, anyone, all of the people that you come into contact with about us, or leave a 5-star review on any platform where you're listening. And, tell that other guy too as well.
Yeah. Especially on Apple.
Yeah.
Apple's great. Apple is king.
Yeah.
We don't make the rules.
She that queen bee.
I should have said queen.
Yeah. The patriarchy. Am I right?
Meh. If you have any true crime, paranormal, or witchy stories to submit for our listener appreciation episodes, lovingly titled Creepy People Chronicles,
Yeah.
please email us at pnwhauntsandhomicides@gmail.com or use our handy dandy Google contact form in the episode description.
It's there. I made it. Use it.
Click the link.
Do it. You're always welcome to remain anonymous. And remember, none of these stories have to be from the Pacific Northwest.
Mm-mm.
If you want to share them, they can be from anywhere.
Anywhere.
Any damn where.
If you live in
place.
Fiji, we want to hear how haunted it is.
Yeah.
Please.
Do you live in London? I loved it there. Haunted as fuck? I think so.
Probably. There's a lot of old shit there.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely murdery as fuck.
Follow us on all of the socials if you don't want to miss out on any photos that we share. We share a lot, especially of the tarot cards, our beautiful altar setups, and a lot of backstage shenanigans, including things like the UFO festival we just did.
Hello.
We lit those stories up.
We did.
We're dead.
We did. You can find our link tree, or better yet, our website, because I fucking made that shit.
She did.
You can find that in the description of this episode and check out all of the fun that we have to offer.
Have a creepy ass day. See you next Tuesday for the rest of this horrific story.
Yeah. Great.
Unless you're Patreon, don't forget you get part 2 right now. Go listen.
Go do it. It is many funs.
So much fun.
So many funs.
We counted them and then we lost count because there's so many